Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this special episode of Rise with Carol Gockel. Okay, today is a very special circuit breaker episode because the guest that I've invited, has a lot of experience with profession and area expertise will come in handy during this circuit breaker situation because, as we know, it has been extended. Now, before I bring her on to screen, right? I'd like to share a little bit on how we met and why I asked her to come on the show. Now, when I first met her, when I first saw her Facebook photo, I saw a very confident woman whose face was in absolute ecstasy. Okay, if you see her Facebook profile photo, you will know exactly what I mean. Okay, the energy she projected was someone who is caring, someone who really gives, and someone who is very honest. And then I participated in a month-long celebrating self-love online event in February this year. And that created quite a shift for me on how I look at myself and my work. And what really stood out during the interaction was her work ethics. She gave everything she had and put in a lot of effort at no cost to all the participants for the entire month. And it really goes to show the kind of person that she is. And she gave from a space of love and passion. Can you imagine, what kind of value she gives to her clients? Then there's her personality. Okay, she's a straight talker, no nonsense approach, and that makes her all the more impressive because she's a person who won't sugarcoat or lie to you. When I invited her to the show, she said yes immediately amidst her very busy schedule. We just had an interaction before the beginning of this show. She had a long day. And, we are very honored to have her on this show today because she is very inspiring. And I'd like to bring out a special guest. She's an author with 4 books under her belt, named 100 Inspiring Women by Cozy Court, Top 50 Inspiring Women Under 40 by Her World magazine, featured in numerous local media publications and radio shows. Let's join our hands and welcome Dr. Martha Tara Lee. Hi, hello.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having here, for being here. Really, I really appreciate you taking the time because I know how demanding your work is, and then the sessions that when you connect with your clients, they're very intensive and energy draining as well because you give them a lot of your focus and energy. And I would really like the audience to really get to know you a little bit more, Martha. Would you share with us what's your story?
Oh my goodness, how do I start? Also, a lot of people always ask me why I became a sex relationship counselor. I think it came about because of really the questioning of why am I here? What am I meant to do? I actually, around that time of soul searching, when I ended my first marriage. I was still very young. I was 25. I was married when I was 21. And during that time of my marriage, my ex-husband, he didn't allow me to do any volunteer work. So I really wanted to do volunteer work. I started to do it, and I realized that I was actually really good in counseling. So that made me decide to start my own practice, but I wanted to specialize in sexuality. And nobody in Singapore at that time was talking about sex in positive ways. The only messages we hear about sex is always about getting pregnant or diseases or teenage pregnancies being a real problem. We never really hear any messages around sexual pleasure and the role and importance it plays in a relationship. So that's how I went and got my doctorate, started my practice, been in practice for 11 years. So this is like a shorter version. I can go into a longer version. But yeah, essentially the most difficult time in my life became the blessing or the breakthrough that I needed to find who I was and what I really am meant to be doing. Yeah.
Wow, very inspiring. If I may just to highlight to the audience, there are actually 10 viewers right now. Hello. And if I like to also just for those who are just joined us, we have here on live Dr. Martha Tara Lee. She is a relationship counselor and clinical sexologist. Today, she'll be sharing with us a lot of tips, during how to improve your relationship during this circuit breaker situation. All right. So the whole entire format, I will have a little bit of interview for you to understand and get to know Dr. Lee. And then after that, I will open up to the floor with some Q&A questions. So you can ask Dr. Lee anything you want. All right. So Dr. Lee, what are the most common misconceptions surrounding what you do?
Okay, I don't blame them. When I first started my practice, I was actually a bit surprised by the reactions that I got, which is, you just talk, you don't show, you don't, what can I actually learn? Got anything practical or not? So I think at that time, a lot of people just assume that a sex coach would have sex with their clients or a sex coach would uh, see people having sex. So that's not what I do. I do have colleagues who do this. Uh, there are all these kinds of different professions and ethics and boundaries that practitioners in the sexuality field has. And very early on in decided that, okay, I'm going to be a talk practitioner, but we can talk about explicit things in an explicit way. I can use visual aids, sexual aids, but I don't have sex with my clients. And so yeah, that is the number one misconception people have about my work. And it helped the first 2 years of my practice. I had a lot of the media very curious about what I do. And the more I put out articles about my work and more media interviews I have, the less I get these kinds of questions. But I still get these questions. I still get these questions every day. And it's okay if you ask, do you have sex with your clients or how do I learn from you? It's okay to ask. And when I give you my answer, what becomes not okay is when you don't respect my boundaries and you keep pushing and pushing and pushing so that you get the answer you want, as if I'll change my mind after 11 years. Um, and you shame me. There are people who shame me and assume that I'm not sex positive because I won't have sex with them. Like it is totally warped to think that people who have boundaries are not sex positive. And yeah, so anyway, these are some of the things that I face very commonly all the time.
Mm. So what would you say was the biggest challenge when you have when starting your own practice, besides the obvious that you mentioned earlier?
I think that was the biggest challenge because I I studied so much to make sure that I become the best practitioner that I could be. My doctorate in human sexuality. Then at that time, I had certs in counseling, coaching, sex therapy, so that I felt confident to support my clients with all kinds of sexual issues that they have. But to be treated as an object and still be treated as an object, like, huh? You mean what you pay her for to get sex advice? What you pay me to have sex with her? I also won't want. So to be getting this kind of sexualized and objectification insults online is really like hitting below the belt, and to be only seen as a woman who happens to be a sex educator who can actually help men with their sex problems is was very devastating and hurtful and disheartening because I help so many people, and yet there are people who talk badly about me in the shadows and refuse to look at me as a professional and insist on sexualizing and objectifying me. So it is very upsetting. It was very upsetting, and it has gotten better over the years as I get older. I don't get as much disrespect, but it is the most that is the most difficult part.
Mm. So what do you have to do to overcome it?
Uh, I I focus on the fact that I have a choice. I can always leave. I can always stop this work. I can just close shop. I can just shut down my website. I can do something else. I know that I have a choice. And so that helps me to take back my power. The second thing is to focus on the many, many people that I did manage to help and how their faces will light up and how they go on to have the lives that they want, sometimes having their baby that they want. So knowing that I've been able to help so many people keeps me going. And a lot of people don't realize that I may not have met them, but I've put in so much love into the idea of being able to help them. The books, the videos that I create, the free things that I do, it's not so much like, oh, it's just to get attention or things like that. It's really because I know my time on this planet is short and I want to do what I can to help as many people as I can. And having been helping as many people as I can in as many ways as I can, I don't have any regrets if I died tomorrow. I really don't have any regrets. And I feel happy that I'm able to help people, and it's really a privilege and honor to hold space for people and to have them share with me some of their deepest, darkest secrets and their fears. It's really a very precious thing, and it's really a privilege. And so I hold on to that. And after 11 years of doing this, last year and also this year, started to be able to have opportunities to work with organizations. So I get to work with Cancer Society as their locum counselor. I go in twice a month. I support people with cancer. I am also working with DPA and APSN. Both of them are disabled organizations. So I work with their clients who have mental and physical disability. And I give them it's like a token amount. It's like a stipend. It's like a small amount. So it's a fraction of what I get paid in private sessions with clients. So to be able to hold space for people who are going through cancer, have disabilities, like to be able to help people at that moment in their lives when they need my help and to have the expertise to help them, it really, really is so precious. And I, yeah, so that's what keeps me going, really.
We'd like to take this moment to acknowledge some of the comments that we received at the start. We have Eleanor Tay saying, "Hello, Dr. Martha." And then we have Anna Ng saying, "Dr. Martha, you are amazing." And I
Thank
couldn't agree with
you.
her more. You are really, really amazing. You know, this is the second time I hear your story, but to hear it again, how you are sharing so truthfully, really, really warms my heart. You know, someone who is so willing to give, and I really appreciate that. You know, but do you get a lot of like resistance, you know, from your family when you chose this profession?
Yeah, okay, my mom didn't say anything. My dad said, why you want to start your own business? Just work for someone. I don't think he really understood. I don't think my mom understood what my job really was about and what it entails. They just hear like, okay, sex coach or whatever. It's not the sex coach that bothered them. It's like having my own business that bothered my dad. Uh, I think he just wanted me to keep my head down and live a so-called normal life and just 9 to 5. But I think a lot of things has changed. People who have a 9 to 5 job, they may not have a job anymore. And people who are not savvy with technology, they can't survive, especially during these times. So I think ultimately they are proud of me, and they do help me. They help me like share my books and workshops with their friends. Yeah,
Mm. Does that hinder your relationship, based on what you do, or rather your
my
profession? Yeah,
relationship with
your
what?
relationship. Your
Yes, so
romantic
my
relationship.
personal relationships, yes. Okay, so I can go on and on about the kind of misunderstandings people have about me. So just now I already mentioned the first thing is I don't have sex with my clients, of course. The next thing is because of my work, my reputation, I have to be very, very mindful when I date someone. Are they trying to score? Are they trying to treat me as some kind of trophy or conquest? If they joke about sex about with me, are they saying it out of their own insecurities? Are they asking me questions because they're curious? Or are they just being like patronizing towards me? So I used to get quite affected until I realized, well, this is the filter, isn't it? They just don't make the cut. So I can look at it negatively, like, oh, it's so hard to date. I wish I was just a normal 9 to 5 job kind of a person. Or I can look at it positively, which is they're showing me the true colors of who they are and what they stand for, what their values are, what their own ease and comfort with their sexuality is very quickly. I had one guy tell me in a short span of less than 5 minutes when we first had a phone call how intimidated he was by my profession. And he said that not less than 4 times in less than 5 minutes. Like he couldn't even complete his sentences. So things like that really tells me a lot about a person. And so yeah, the first criteria is they cannot joke about what I do for a living. And they can be curious, but they cannot be so curious that they become obsessively curious that they treat me as like a coach for free. So it has affected my personal life, but it has also helped me to be more discerning. And I it has made it harder to date because of my work. I work on weekends, I work on weekday evenings, like these are the times when people are free. So it has been challenging to forget about my profession, like even just finding the opportunities where we can meet has been challenging. So I am in a long distance relationship right now. Let's see how it goes.
I can identify with that because my husband and I were on a long distance relationships for 2 years before he decided to move here, and we got married. Actually, speaking of that, today is our wedding anniversary.
Oh,
It's our ninth year together. And yeah, we didn't get, because usually we don't celebrate after we have children, to be very frank, because it's like, we can't, because I don't have live-in help. Then I try not to trouble my mom to kind of babysit. So that means having to find a babysitter if you want to go out on date night would be not only inconvenient, at the same time it's also costly. So we tend to usually, we don't celebrate in April. We will do it when we are when the kids have their summer break in June. Then we will go to Germany, and then we leave the kids a few days with my in-laws, and we'll spend some time together. And and then of course right now we can't. And so today he is also a massive. It's a long work day for him. He's actually sitting in the study right now, having his conference call, when I'm sitting here doing my live with you. So it's just another day. And also, he has been working from home for close to 2 months now, since the beginning. And I believe there's a lot of other couples who are under, this pressure, being in working from home, having this lockdown situation with their partners. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? But if you're living in, modern day, living in a small apartment, you run into each other every time. There's bound to be friction, right? So what would you suggest that couple can do, during this challenging time, to try to stay together and then to improve their relationship?
yeah. Okay, so a lot of uh relationships okay, I'm going to like do some generalization. I think a lot of women they do tend to like this whole sense of intimacy, like oh you me, like emotional intimacy, feeling like really, really close, sharing heart to heart. But having space is also very important. And the forbidden, the the fear of the unknown can actually create excitement and suspense in the relationship. So you can look at things positively or negatively. Positively, as in you have more time, so you can choose to be more creative around making what is the mundane more interesting. I know it sounds crazy if you are tired and kids running around, but these are the same challenges that will be there uh, regardless. It's just
Mm.
that you now actually have more time and more opportunities to plan. To plan. You can do a treasure hunt around the house. Yes, entertain the biggest kid in your house. I think the challenge is in a lot of relationships, we want everything in one person. We want the wife, we want the lover, we want the mom, we want the best friend, and we want the mother in our wife. We want the mother as well, because we actually are all little kids deep inside. We all have that inner child, and it is impossible to think that there are some times that we want to be reckless and irresponsible and just not clean up after ourselves. It is okay for some time and it's okay for a time. And there are certain fights that you just don't want to fight. So you need to decide. You need to have that discernment of when to do what, when to say what, and be sensitive around it, because a lot of the behavior is energetic. You can just sense that there's more to it than just them doing the same old throw things around the house or leave things. I would say if you have the luxury of it, try to create spaces and times that you don't interrupt each other. If you can go to separate areas of the house to work, and you can really enforce that this area is work, and once you leave that area you don't bring it with you. So over time you condition yourself to begin to compartmentalize. Okay, now I'm going into work. Okay, now I'm going into my personal space. Now I'm letting go of my day. Writing down to-do list helps. Okay, I have written everything I need to do down. I don't have to hold on to it. I'm just going to put it aside. I can pick it up tomorrow. I will not forget. I used to, because I have been working for myself for so long, so during this time it has been great for me. I just have less interaction face to face, that's all. I have no interaction face to face, that's all. But it used to drive me nuts that my office and my bed was just next to each other. But over time, I was really able to compartmentalize, and it started from talking to myself and telling myself, okay, you now let that go. You now going into your sleep area. So separating it psychologically helps you. But yeah, with your spouse, creating suspense, creating boundaries, are all things that you can try to experiment with. And I think during this time, I don't think we also need to be so hard on ourselves. It's also okay to not be okay. It's also okay to not perform at 100%. It's also okay to not be organized. It's also okay to go on binge eating or whatever, or binge watching. It's okay for a time, because we are all finding different ways to cope. Yeah.
Well, I guess is I have my husband and sometimes are out of sync. Sometimes he's in the mood, but I'm not. I had a long day, so I was like, what, I can't. And then sometimes like when I wanted it, he's tired. So what would you suggest for couples who are out of sync?
Yeah.
How can they, I would say it will be very unromantic, you kind of like you fix a time and a date, to be intimate. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you suggest?
Okay. They say opposites attract. You wouldn't be attracted to your partner if your partner wasn't different. So I have a lot of clients, introvert, extrovert, morning person, night person, talkative and non-talkative person, and touch person and non-touch person. I think it's more a matter of coming to the same understanding of what is important and what you need for things to happen. I have clients who refuse to schedule time for intimacy because it doesn't work for them. So then I explore with them what does work for them. So they say, no, 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 both of us don't want to be so blatant as to hint, as to like say, let's have sex. So we want to hint. So then it's very important to establish what hinting about sex means, and they don't have misunderstandings, because there have been many clients, they hint that they want sex and doesn't work because their other partner doesn't pick up on the hints. But if you have established hints, then it's more likely to work. um, a lot of times somebody in the relationship is usually more spontaneous than the other. And usually in my work with this generalization, most women, they need more of emotional connection. They need to feel wanted and loved before they feel like reaching out and touching and physically intimate with their partner. So in those cases, it may be a good idea actually to build up the romance and talking about what you need to get into the mood. So maybe you help me like put the kids to bed, or you help me with the laundry, or you help me with the dishes. Like these things help both of you with time management, so that both of you don't end up like tired out at the same time, or like one person is tired out more because they are doing more. So then you get the other person to help. um I still think that scheduling time is important, because we do block out appointments that are important, like this call. If I didn't block it out, maybe it would have been filled out with other things. And so blocking time out doesn't necessarily mean that it will definitely happen, because things change. But at least it is on the calendar. There is something where both of you work towards syncing yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. It could be the teasing towards the date. It could be the let's not schedule so many things on this date so that I'm not completely exhausted. It could be let's put the kids with my mom. And so I still think when there are more challenges, it is important to schedule. I think what a lot of my clients resist is the must have sex part. I don't think they fight the scheduling part, they fight the must have sex. So what if you just don't say you must have sex? What if you just say this is a play date? We do something that is going to make us feel connected to each other. And then you just play and then see whether it leads to sex, knowing that it is on the table and knowing that it's not a must. Because nobody likes being told you must do this, just like your kids don't like to be told they must sleep at this time. What if it's just between 8 to 10? You must sleep between 8 to 10. They know, then they have choice. So with your partner, what if they know that you don't have to have sex? You can plan it. You can take turns planning. Like today is my turn, and then next week is your turn. So you plan it the way you want. There are actually 4 ways you can plan. You plan it the way you want. What makes you happy, romantic, whatever. Your partner gets to plan the way they want, and then you plan the way you think your partner wants, and then your partner plans the way they think you want. So when you plan it the way you want, what you're doing is you're modeling to your partner, this is the kind of music and the lighting and the look and the sheets. This is the way I like it. And you can ask them to help you. But actually, it's a bit like train the trainer. Sometimes we hint, sometimes we say, sometimes we ask, sometimes we beg, and we never get what we want. So why don't we just get it for ourselves and we show it to them, we model it for them, and through trial and error, through communication, um, make it work.
Yeah. Okay. So I would like to open the Q&A session right now to the people who are viewing this. So if you can just put in your comments on this video, and then so that we can get Dr. Martha Lee to answer your question. So while you gather yourself and ask your questions, I will ask one question to Dr. Lee. Okay. So okay, this is what we got from Q&A previously. Okay, candles, sexy lingerie, and toys sounds very cheesy. Do they really work in the bedroom?
Okay, it works if it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it gives pressure to your partner that okay, now it's like sex time, especially if they have sexual difficulties. Uh, so it works if this is what makes you happy and you present it as let's try something different and you are lighthearted about it. If your partner makes you do something, like for instance, a lot of people say, oh yeah, I think you should wear lingerie. And then you wear it, but you don't embrace, you don't embody that lingerie, it doesn't work. So it has to do with more of the mind. If the attitude is, oh, we must have sex, again, there's pressure. If the attitude is, uh, I'm doing it for me, don't worry about it. We don't have to do it. Or, yeah, I'm wearing it because I feel good. I like to experiment. I'm doing it for me. And you really enjoy wearing it, then it's not really for them only, it's also for yourself. If you're just doing something for them, sometimes if the attitude, the way you think about it is with resentment, it's also not going to work. So I would say this is one of the reasons why I often hear from my clients why like things that seem to be contrived, candles, music, lingerie, it doesn't seem to work. However, I think as we get older and we've been there, tried many different things, including, of course, spontaneous, unplanned sex, what can enhance the experience is let's slow down, let's try something different. Let's do it because we haven't done this before. Let's do it because I want to do it. Let's do it because I want to say I have done it. So it may not work well, but it doesn't necessarily mean that something that doesn't work well will never work well. Sometimes it's a matter of getting your partner used to it. Sometimes it's the point of getting a partner to realize what it means to you. So I would say, in a nutshell, if somebody has an attitude problem around all these things, then of course it's not going to work. I have clients who hint, oh, I wear lingerie, it was so nice, I bought this, so expensive, blah, blah, blah. And then you didn't even look at me. Like, then it became like blame the lingerie, where when actually it is about how it is coming across, that you didn't have actually a dialogue about it. So you are not on the same page about let's bring in playfulness. So the attitude, you don't got attitude problem, then of course it will become a problem.
True, true, true. So what are the ways women can do, to be proactive in bed?
Yeah, so you have to look at your partner because some people they really like their partners to be very communicative, and some people take it personal and treat it as, oh, I'm not good enough for you, and they may treat it as a rejection. So after all these years, I realized there's no like one size fits all. It really depends on your partner's personality. But what often works very, very well is um, to always see as an invitation to not force and to always look at it with like curiosity and detachment. Like you don't really care. You're just putting it out there. I'm not going to care whether you like it or don't like it. I'm just telling you what I like. If you just put it in a light-hearted way, then it's not so scary because there are people who are creatures of habit. So when you change something, they get scared. Uh-oh, what's going to happen? They have this fear because they feel like they're walking on eggshells, maybe because of the way the relationship dynamics are. I don't do what you want me to do. I don't say, I get scolded. So I actually have a lot of clients who have a lot of fear about trying anything new because if it's not broken, why fix it? So they may be creatures of habit people. They are not very comfortable with variety. So in order to get your partner to be more open, to try new things with you, it's always making it like you don't really care. It's just like an invitation and this sense of detachment, but also make it playful and curious. Yeah. I can go on
Mm.
and on.
Thank you for sharing so much. A lot of golden nuggets here. Okay, well, the things are because of circuit breaker, not just couples are affected, people who are single are affected. Because, I remember seeing this particular piece of news. This couple, they were caught kissing on a park bench and they were both fine, you know. So because of social distancing, I guess a lot of people who are dating, they are unable to really go out and really go on dates. And so for single women out there, maybe what is your advice for them in order to maintain their sexual health?
Yeah, so solo sex is safe sex. You you are not going to catch anything, not virus, not STD, and you can explore your body like it's a playground. You can explore using sexual lubricants and sexual aids, vibrators. So vibrator sales has actually gone up. Sex sales has gone up around the world. And this is a good time to not shut down your sexuality, but to actually spend more time retreating into yourself. A lot of people that I know of, they're very uncomfortable using sex toys, and you can just treat it as a way to really put in love into yourself. So say you have a vibrator and you put it in whatever part of your body is aching or in pain. So that's self-care. And then you can also imagine whatever point that the vibrator is touching into myself, the vibration is actually sending love into yourself. So the intention with the toy, then there's that creative element of treating it as more than just a physical thing, but actually an emotional thing. When you go to a massage, you don't let your body be stiff, right? You relax into it so that your body can absorb the full benefits of the massage. So with sex toys, you can also play with yourself in creative ways. So in my second book, Orgasmic Yoga, there are actually many creative ways in which you can play with yourself. Yeah.
So ladies, are you learning anything yet? I think we have a very shy audience today, but I think that's okay. I will actually put in the comments of this video after it ended, this Facebook Live after it ended, how to contact Dr. Martha Tarali, because she has, as I mentioned earlier, she's actually an author of 4 books, and then all her books, okay, are very informative. I have not read them yet because I have yet to actually purchase them, but I would urge that you can go sort it out, because she's sharing so much here, just on the live. Can you imagine what are the things, are the golden nuggets that she shares in her book? So, Martha, as you know that, the name of the show is called Rise with Carol Gockel. All right. So what does rise means to you as a woman?
Of course, for me, in my work, rise means erection. But for women, we actually also have a part of our body that does rise. It is the equivalent of the male penis. We actually have a clitoris and we have a clitoral shaft. So we have a small part of our body. That part actually is full of nerve endings. Is the easiest way in which we can get orgasm. About 70-80% of women can have orgasm through clitoral stimulation. But this clit that I'm talking about actually is connected to a body. It has a shaft. And when we are getting sexually excited, our clitoris does live. We do also have a mini penis inside us. And of course, the head, the clitoris, the body, and of course, the clitoral bulbs. So it actually is a whole structure internally. So anyway, when I think of race, I think of erection, of course. I think of the sexual and a power, authority, a voice that I feel a lot of women don't have. It was very difficult when I was new to sex to actually speak up in the bedroom. It was stuck in my throat. I couldn't speak up. And so I feel that part of rising is not just the physiological, okay, I also have a mini penis. It's also like claiming all parts of yourself, especially your sexuality, is a big part of your vibrancy, of your energy, of your ability to radiate and to ooze invitation and to attract good things into your life. People who are not comfortable with their sexuality, it's very easy for me to tell because I've been doing this for 11 years and I work with so many people who are sexually shut down and inhibited and repressed. And you look at them and you really don't feel that they have chi, they don't have vitality, and they don't look like they're happy about life. Forget about even being able to forget about like can they even have sex, just even the vitality. So people who love sex, enjoy sex, who are comfortable with their sexuality, I feel that they are truly embodied and expressive and happy people. The thing is, we are afraid to shine. We're afraid to shine because we get attention that is unwanted. And even when we speak up and we say stop, people still don't stop. Just like what is happening to me, my clients who or prospective clients who keep pushing, trying to push boundaries. And even when I say, no, this is not what I do, they push and then they shame. So imagine that I'm getting this all the time, and I have to find ways to work through it. But what more for women on the street who doesn't have these skills and who actually feel scared? And I used to go through that as well. And then I find myself shutting down and not allowing myself to be, I call yummy, juicy, sexy. I'm not allowing myself to be all of who I'm meant to be because it's scary to be beautiful because you get unwanted attention. So I used to, you wouldn't believe it, I used to see my clients in yoga pants without makeup. And it wasn't until I had this client who came in and told me that, Martha, the biggest thing that I ever learned from you is not what you taught me, but who you are. And that really changed how I decided to show up for my clients. I realized I needed to heal all my wounds around being born a woman and being angry about all this unwanted attention from men, even when I tell them stop. And realize that by being scared, I'm doing nobody any service, that I wasn't the coach that they wanted to have, that I wasn't really being fully in my power. So to me, rise actually means women who are completely comfortable with all aspects of themselves, especially their sexuality, who can speak for themselves, but not like in aggressive ways and not scared, just assertive, just be.
Okay, we have one question from the audience. Question is, what if you know sex is predictable and you're not really looking forward to it?
Yeah. Okay. So just now I mentioned where sometimes you have a partner who is a creature of habit. So they may not be wired such that they like variety. And people who don't really like variety or don't really like change, who are not really open to too many new things, who are like stuck in their ways, they like sex to be predictable. So they don't think that there's anything wrong. The thing is that it's not an issue until it's an issue. So if one person in the relationship is not really happy with the way things are, that it is predictable, then you need to bring it up to your partner and be gentle with your partner, because you don't want to throw like 10 new things at them, just one new thing, the smallest denominator. And you do it as an invitation, you invoke curiosity, playfulness, gentleness, detachment, and you explain why. It's not just what you do, but explain why. Oh, sweetheart, I read on this article we should use, like, people use blindfolds. I've always been curious to use blindfolds. Would you like to try it? And then, no, I don't want to try blindfolds. How about if you do the blindfold on me first, and let me get to experience it. So you see, it doesn't cost them anything because they haven't really changed their behavior. The change is on you. So you model it for them. So I often do that. I get them to do it on me first, and then I say, "Can I do it on you, please, please, please?" So that's one manipulation technique that I use. But you see, manipulation is not necessarily like a bad word, okay? A lot of people like manipulate is bad. Sometimes you need to you need to open them up, but you do it slowly, slowly.
Hmm, yes. So what's next for you? You know,
Yeah. So right now I'm seeing clients online. I am busy doing things that doesn't pay me anything, but I still do it to support the community. Like I do free laughter yoga. This morning I shared what I know about emotional freedom technique, tapping, tapping. I am not a pro at it, but I learned it and I wanted to share it. So I'm doing community events, and I would want to. I am creating a new online programs, and I am should be working on my fifth book. Yeah, so many things. Yeah.
Okay, I just found out that there's this particular thing that I can put on as a ticker. Say I just type connect with Dr. Martha Tara Lee at has a website euroscoaching.com, because there's a lot of information where you can find Dr. Lee's books as well as her classes, and she also has something very fun that she's going to put out for the month of May. Would you share with us a little bit more what your plans are for May?
Yeah, so in February I did celebrating self-love, which Carol was part of. And for May, May is actually masturbation month in the US. So every month in every year in May, for the last I don't know how many years, I think 9 or 10 years at least. Every month in May, I will do something. Uh, and this year, I'm doing I'm doing Facebook group. So I'm doing a group for women, and I'm partnering with my colleague Peter Howie to do one. He's supporting the men, and then we are doing a all gender group. So for the women's group, unfortunately, because of all the problems that I've had with Facebook, so I'm getting people to sign up for celebrating pleasure for women online, and then they will get the daily prompts just like February. It's just that it has been so difficult actually to post anything relating to sex on Facebook. I keep getting banned. so so yeah, there's an invite. You can just join my link. Eros Coaching celebrating dash pleasure dash for dash women. Yeah, it's a long link. You can just join
But you
that
can
link.
also, connect on Facebook as well. Yes.
Yeah, you can find it on Facebook under events.
Yeah, yes, on that. So, and also, next month, the month of May is also Mother's Day. Do you get mothers coming to you?
Do I get mothers coming to me?
Mm.
I get teachers coming to me on school holidays
Oh.
because they have time from work. Uh, Mother's Day, Father's Day, not really. I get on school holidays, year end, start of the year, because I guess it's a time for New Year resolutions, and people have more time to focus on their personal lives. So during this time of the coronavirus, I'm offering discounts, a deep discount, which I don't usually offer because a lot of people are very resistant to working with me online. They it's such a intimate topic. They prefer to work with me face to face. So in order to overcome that hurdle, I'm offering discounts and encouraging people to really look at this is a good time to really explore all the issues that are underneath that actually should be addressed so that you have a stronger relationship, because at the end of this, with this virus, like who do we think about, who do we care, if something happens to us, like who are going to cry for us. So our personal relationships are very important, and we don't want to live our lives like half sleepwalking. So yeah, I really encourage people to take this time to not just be doing binging on whatever you binge on, and to turn inwards. Yeah,
Yes.
I also have people who are afraid of being alone, who don't like their own company. I think this is a great time to make yourself your own best friend.
Yes, I think I love what you said. Make yourself your own best friend, because we need to love ourselves first before we can receive the love that we truly deserve.
Mm.
Do you
I
agree
know
with
so
that?
many people, yeah, and I know so many people they cannot receive. Giving, yes, giving, yeah, give. But then they cannot receive, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I'm a giver. It's okay. I don't need it." But if you think about it in a scheme of things, in a long-term relationship, if you cannot receive, it is also very exasperating for your partner. And then you're spoiling your partner to not be able to give because they get spoiled. So they say, don't bother, it doesn't matter. And then you're actually setting your relationship up for failure, because if you have a beautiful, generous person who wants to give and you cannot receive, yeah, it will become a problem.
Yes, indeed, indeed. And I think, this is come to a time where we have to end this session because, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching because Dr. Lee has another appointment to go to. But, this is like almost an hour of sharing from her. And I'm sure you have taken a lot, from this Facebook Live. Okay. And what really rather my takeaway is we are meant to shine, personally, professionally, physically, and our mind as well. So this is my biggest takeaway from this session today. So ladies, maybe some of you who are watching this are feeling a little bit shy, and that's okay. But then, we are giving you this opportunity, to be open. This is a good opportunity for us to create a change for ourselves, for our loved one. Okay, so join Dr. Lee. Okay, for this, the website link is below, eroscoaching.com/celebrating pleasure for women. Okay, because pleasure is not a bad word. Only if we love ourselves, then when we are full, then we are able to give. Thank you so much, Martha, for coming on to the
Thank
show
you.
and spending so much time with us. So this is really valuable. Ladies, this is something that you don't get every day. This is value because Dr. Lee is very busy and she's here with us today. So we are very blessed. Thank you so much. And I will see you soon.
Thank
Okay. Thank you,
you.
everybody. Bye.
Thank you.